And we are live. Publish it. Run those ads. And then get to the title screen where we can chill for a bit. Move that mic closer. Good to go. Where's my water at? There we go. What's your favorite legal term? I don't... Okay. Does stenographer count? Because I think it's a fun word to say. I don't think that's technically a legal term, even though it relates to, like, specifically a court reporter. That counts? Okay. Stenographer, then. I think that's a very fun word. My favorite is spoliation. Didn't expect Of the Devil today for some reason. Why? We have one stream of it left. Also, hey everyone, howdy. Of the Devil time. It's pronounced spoilation. But it's spelled spoliation? That's a bad word. That's a stupid word. What? That's phonetically incorrect. That's not how that works. Why it's a good spelling bee word? I guess. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true, I guess. That's fair. I don't know if I've said this before, but I was in a musical called the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee before. And the way that musical works, because it was originally a college improv show, is that there are audience participants in the show. And as audience participants, they will come up at certain intervals during the show, and they will have to participate in the spelling bee, right? And so we'll give them... We have, a couple select words that we just pick from that were designed for audience participants, ranging from, easy, intermediate difficulty, then to harder ones and the like. But at around the halfway point of the show, you essentially need all of the audience participants to be gone. You need to make sure that they're all gone, right? And so when we get to that point, there are two fail-safe questions, or two fail-safe words, rather. One of them is just a difficult but funny word, and the other one is a guaranteed they're done no matter what. So the hard word that comes with, like, the script, that comes with the musical, is xerothalmiology. Which, if I'm remembering correctly, is XEROPHTHALMIOLOGY. Xerothalmiology. Right? And the bit with that one specifically is if they start with a Z, you do not even wait for them to spell the rest of the word. If they start with a Z, you ding them immediately, music starts playing immediately. Go right into their goodbye musical number, right? However, if someone gets that one correct, they are immediately called up again, instead of going for the usual sequence. And our fail-safe word, which I'm proud of because I came up with it, is there. They're allowed to ask for language of origin, and they're also allowed to ask, can you use it in a sentence? And the sentence that we came up with for there was, they're there, but their dog is over there. So whichever one they went for is the incorrect spelling. It was a very fun time. Never got to use it because, I mean, you might be surprised to know this. Not a lot of people know how to spell xerothalmiology. So, or As a matter of fact, not a lot of people spelled enough words correctly to really stay in the show long enough to get to the zero thalmiology bit. In spelling bees, you can ask part of speech, not in Putnam. You can ask language of origin, and can you use it in a sentence? Those are the only two you're allowed to ask. In an actual spelling bee, obviously, that wouldn't work. However, it does work in a fictional spelling bee designed for improv comedy. Also, can you ask for definition? Almost as if the game is right? Right? I forget what definition we had. I think we just, if someone asked for a definition, we just said, no, like, can I have a definition? No, you may not. Which is a bit of a cop-out, all things considered, but, you know, it is just an excuse to eliminate them. So, you know. Alright, normally this is the part of the stream where we would have 10 minutes of Souls-like discussion. But, unfortunately, I finished Dark Souls 2, had a good time with it. Finished Bloodborne, had a good time with it, replaying it currently. Started Dark Souls 3 again. Pretty good game, not gonna lie. Game's pretty good. Pretty good fucking game. I love Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is like an old friend to me. It is one of the strangest comfort games I have. And I cannot describe what it just feels like home when I play Dark Souls 3. There is something about knowing all the item placements, about knowing the layout of the map perfectly, about knowing how to go through every single area, just the flow of everything and all the little secrets. It just feels right when I play Dark Souls 3. It's a very comfortable experience. When are you playing NTR? Here's the thing. I'm conflicted on playing Night Rain. Alright? I'm conflicted on playing Night Rain because here's my general feeling now that I'm playing more Elden Ring. Alright? My general feeling now that I'm playing Elden Ring is I'm currently in the best part of the game. I'm currently in the mid-game. I'm just before the Mountaintop of the Giants, which is when the quality of the game fucking tanks so hard, it may as well be leaking military secrets. Alright? It is fucking crazy how bad the game gets. The best part of the game is the start, not on a replay. Whenever you're playing it for the first time, absolutely the best part of the game is the start. However, on a replay, somewhere in that mid-game, when you are in, like, from Raya Lucaria to Lanedell, that's the best section of the entire game, I would say. I mean, we can include Volcano Manor in there, because it's not too bad. I actually like that one, because it's mostly, that area is, like, not very open. That's kind of just, like, just a Dark Souls-ass area. That's a really... Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Volcano Manor is fucking great, because that's not an open world section. That's a very linear Dark Souls-ass level. You'll notice, if you replay Elden Ring, the more linear the level design becomes, the better it gets. Because FromSoft's strengths lie in their tight, interconnected level design. So whenever you open that up and have to fill it with a bunch of bullshit, sorry, I bumped the mic, it gets bad. Elden Ring's best bits are when it turns into Dark Souls. I fully agree. Playing back through Elden Ring, the idea that strikes me more than anything is that Elden Ring is at its best, or rather, let me rephrase that. Elden Ring is at its worst when it is trying new things. Which is a shame, because it really does try a lot of interesting things. But all those deviations from the general format that FromSoft has come to be known for, I don't think it pulls off very effectively. And the contrast between that and something like all of their legacy dungeons. Like, Stormvale Castle is fantastic. And it just goes to show you how much worse the rest of the world is in contrast when you have those perfectly tightly designed little dungeons that feel incredibly layered and incredibly engaging to navigate through, especially with the added level of mobility that jumping adds to the player moveset. I think jumping would be an incredible addition across the board if FromSoft was just willing to give the player some information during combat. If they had some kind of indicator other than guessing based on visual tells of whether a move could be jumped, I think it would be far and away the greatest addition to the base formula they have ever made. But because it is so vague, because the game does not tell you in any capacity what attacks can be jumped, it feels like a crapshoot every time. It feels like you're just sort of guessing, and if I take damage, I guess I take damage. And there's something to be said about the fun of discovery in terms of how to deal with enemy movesets. There's something to be said about the excitement of learning a new strategy on how to dodge a move, like figuring out that you can jump over shockwaves to attack. I remember when I was playing through the first time, that's a relatively intuitive visual indication, right? And I think that's fun. I like learning that on some level. However, there are also a lot of attacks that just sort of sweep low, or their hitboxes are low enough that you can jump them. And I think being aware or having a more intuitive way to show the player that those can be jumped would go a long way in helping the gameplay experience feel a lot more varied and a lot more exciting and a lot more fair as well. Whenever I play Dark Souls games, I always, or almost always, use a shield. And the reason why I use a shield is, there's multiple reasons. One, I like how shields look. The fantasy of using a shield appeals to me greatly. Two, generally speaking, it's pretty nice to have the option to just fully block attacks sometimes, right? And to be able to deflect and then counterattack. But three, and this is something that after playing through Bloodborne and playing through Dark Souls 2 without a shield, and now playing through Elden Ring with a more shield counter or guard counter based build, what I'm learning is having an extra defensive option like that gives you a lot more gameplay variety, which is something that I really highly value when it comes to Souls-likes, right? And so even just something as simple as having the option to trade my stamina for a counter or for a guard instead of trying to dodge through it and time it, really, really helps it feel like I have a lot more control over how I want to respond to an enemy, and that goes a long way into making fights feel a lot more dynamic and a lot more mechanically interesting and a lot more fun. Which is why I think that's probably why I didn't really like the bosses in Bloodborne all that much. Because to me, bosses in Bloodborne either feel like they're extremely agile and you just sort of wail on them when they get close and hope that they stagger, or they're a big enemy and then you get behind them and you just mash R1 until their health bar is empty. I really felt like that general strategy of just like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, I'm killing you, I'm killing you, I'm killing you, is effective from Cleric Beast to the end of the game. And not only is it effective, it's literally the best strategy you can possibly employ for most of the bosses. Is just find a spot where where it's difficult for them to hit you and just fucking mash until they're done. Which, granted, that kind of describes like the Dark Souls boss experience until like, honestly, until Sekiro and Elden Ring, really. But at a certain point with Elden Ring, you are also just mashing R1 and then you mash L1 whenever it's their turn to attack, right? Where was I going with this? Right, Night Rain. Anyway, I'm replaying Elden Ring, and I'm finding that I quite like it. So right now. Let me walk that back. I'm having a decent time. I don't quite like it. I'm having a whelming time with it. However, because I have such a bad frame of reference, or my frame of reference for Elden Ring is so negative, the fact that I'm having a decent time means that I am having a comparatively good time. However, like I said, I'm just about to get to Mountaintop of the Giants, which is horseshit. And everything after that is really, really bad. So I'm not looking forward to it at all. How this relates to Night Rain, however, is I'm looking at all of the bosses in Elden Ring, and I'm looking at the sort of blatant reuse of assets would be the best way to call it, in a way that gets very repetitive after a while. And I'm looking at mechanics like Spirit Ashes and this sort of mechanical emphasis on cooperation, which in most cases tends to trivialize fights. And then I see something like Night Rain, which is an experience which is designed to be played with 3 people. And honestly, I think that sounds pretty fun. The idea that, like, you could take that Dark Souls format that has always had this sort of iffy cooperative element to it because of how much of a strong modifier it is on the difficulty of any given fight, and you could design it from the ground up to be a fully cooperative experience. That sounds fun to me. I don't know whether it's fun enough that I would consider buying it, but it seems like it could be a winning formula to some degree. And apparently people like it, so most likely it is. Sometimes you just do jump attacks over and over. That's the problem I'm running into with Elden Ring right now, is like the optimal strategy if I'm doing a strength build is just to jump and slam my weapon at the enemy. And sort of just do that over and over and over again, and any variations therein are really bad. I should never be using my light attack, because it's just not what you should do. It's just not a good way to use your weapon on a boss. On a boss, you are going for staggers. Staggers are the only thing that matter if you are doing a strength build against a boss. You're just going for stagger, 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 stagger. So you just do your big fucking jumping attacks, you do your high stagger weapon arts, and then you do your riposte, and then orient yourself. Oh. Hello? I don't know what that was. Hope it's fine. Whatever it was. Anyway, the point is that I think, like, knowing how to actually do melee combat this time around is making it a bit more interesting. Because now that I know I should be going for staggers rather than ever pressing my light attack button, it's more engaging because I have a goal that I know to be working towards other than just kill the enemy. But I just can't shake the feeling like, man, if that's the case, it really kind of feels like maybe, and this is a little far-fetched, so stop me if it sounds a little too out there for a FromSoft game especially. Maybe there should be some kind of, like, visual indicator, like a bar of some kind, like a status effect meter, or like I don't know, you get the general idea, that like shows how close the enemy is to staggering, so that you know when you should go in for an attack, and you know like where you are in reference to that stagger, and you know to like press for it. But I don't know. I just can't really see FromSoft doing something like that. That seems like, I mean, what's next? What are they gonna? Are they gonna like flash big red letters on the screen when I'm supposed to jump and attack? Fucking come on, man. What do I look like? An Uchigatana user? Given enough time, all Souls-like arguments evolve into Sekiro praise. Well, not quite, because unfortunately, Sekiro's bosses are the only good part about it. That's my hot take. All of the combat in Sekiro that is not bosses is bad. Sekiro has a grappling hook, unrelated to the combat. Completely traversal based. Exploration is interesting. The areas look really fun. There are some really cool set pieces. However, every time you are fighting a group of enemies instead of just fighting a one-on-one boss fight, it feels bad. I went back and I tried to replay Sekiro, and I got filtered hardcore by just like 3 enemy-rich areas in a row that I just could not give a single fuck about. That's my hot take. Is that the reason everyone remembers Sekiro as this incredible Souls-like experience is because all of the bosses are pretty good, and the bosses are the highlights. The bosses are the parts that you remember. No one remembers playing fucking Dark Souls 1 and slogging their way to the gargoyles. They remember the gargoyles. All right? You remember the big moments. And in Sekiro, those big moments are the best parts. I also think this is why Dark Souls 2 isn't remembered very fondly, because it does a lot of strange mechanical things that don't always work, and the bosses aren't particularly good. And since the bosses don't stick out in their mind, and these areas are sometimes a little iffy, sometimes a little samey, it feels like a bad experience overall, when I think for someone like me who enjoys going through those levels and enjoys figuring out like how to get through this area in an interesting manner, the enemy composition in Dark Souls 2 is pretty fun. And it has a lot of encounters in there throughout the level that feel like I have to constantly switch up my strategy and decide how I want to engage with like groups of enemies, how I want to engage with a big guy, if I have different enemy compositions, how to deal with those. It's nice. Forest of Lost Giants is better than any level in Elden Ring. Let's not go that far, buddy. Forest of Lost Giants is good. However, I don't think Forest of Lost Giants is better than Stormvale Castle. So far, all of the legacy dungeons in Elden Ring have still been consistently good, because that's what FromSoft is best at. That's the stuff they're really good at. All right, that's enough of that, though. We got to get into this because we don't have... Well, no, I don't have D&D today, so we have a little extra time, but, you know, I try not to cut into the Mouse Joe Seki Power Hour because I know everyone wants to be there for that, and I also want to be there for that. So, let's get into a VN of my own. With of the Devil. So where we last left off, we were in the middle of the second day of trial. Thank you for waiting for me to finish the game before continuing, by the way. Of course, I live to serve. All right, we were on the second day of the trial, and we are now at like the second section of the trial. And I really didn't like the first part of this trial because it had two, what I frankly believe were really bullshit, like, I don't know what to call them, puzzles, I suppose, that didn't make any sense to me. It could just be skill issue, but, you know, we shall see. We shall see. Blackjack kind of does suck. I'm iffy on the mechanic overall, but I don't think it's enough that, like, it could be improved. I think they just need more clarity in the options you're choosing. My problem with Blackjack in this game is mostly that I don't have any general idea of, like, where a conversation is going to go based on the dialogue option. I feel like I'm not given enough information to properly work out where it's going to flow and how I can guide the conversation. Which is very difficult because you're punished for asking the wrong questions. So it's a little iffy there. It could use some improvement. That is my like biggest criticism thus far, is just that Blackjack does not feel like a very intuitive or informational minigame. It just sort of feels like you just do whatever, and then when it works, it works. But that could just be me. That's not a universal experience. Anyway, let's get to it. Thank you. Flipping you off and on? Can't imagine that was comfortable. It wasn't. But I wasn't referring to that. Since yesterday, I've been searching for an answer to why I appeared on that camera. I know I would never hurt Father, but you helped me to prove that to myself just now. Adonai. Pardon me, I need to focus. Everything depends on this next witness. The people call Helen Jung to the stand. Helen Jung, Vice President of Android Futures at Noble Electronics, Eastern Division. Ms. Jung, you were there the night Dr. Asher died, and you were on camera the entire time. That's correct. So what did you see that night? I arrived at 7:30 p.m., as you know. David and I talked in the parlor, then he left to retrieve some refreshments for us. After drinking together for a short while, he fell ill. I contacted emergency services, and I'm sure you're all tired of hearing the same details over and over by now. Same details over and over aren't going to hold up anymore, Madame Veep. It's still unclear to me whether Jung's more concerned with protecting herself or the almighty company, but it'll clear up real fast if I can turn up the pressure on her here and now. So we have the journal, we have the arbitration, and we have Jung's story. I have a feeling it's probably going to be the arbitration. I came to David's at 7:30. We chatted for a short while about some low priority work, nothing heavy. Actually, what about the arbitration? Nothing heavy. You're both more professional than I realized. Since only hours earlier you had run a meeting in which his employment was terminated. His employment wasn't terminated at the arbitration you're referring to. His resignation was merely agreed upon. Yes, and we can all imagine how grateful he felt about the whole process. David didn't hold grudges. Our conversation wasn't about that. The fact that you had him fired that afternoon didn't come up. Asked and answered. Who initiated the meeting at his penthouse? I arrived unannounced. So you weren't invited. Very cordial indeed. If he didn't want to see me, then he could have stopped me at the elevators. Could have? Noble owned that entire building, down to the wiring. Or could he have? Counsel is badgering the witness, Your Honor. Huh? Right, should we execute her for that? No need. If I can just continue my questioning, we can finally start addressing the elephant in the room. Where? Ah, I see. That was merely a joke. Hilarious. Ms. Jung, Noble Electronics owns a patent for and produces the synthetic biochemical known as synatonin, correct? That's correct. It's used in our warm models to facilitate integration and communication between organic and synthetic components. It's an artificial neurotransmitter. Essentially, yes. Synthetic analog serotonin was the original name. Did you bring the samples I requested to the courtroom today? I did. Synatonin is produced on-site at our assembly lines as a caramel-tinted solution, including water and a few non-reactive organic byproducts. Your analysis, Your Honor? Working on it. It's odorless and tasteless. A solution of water and organic byproducts, you said. If that solution were ingested, most of it would look right at home in a human body. I suppose. But the synatonin would stand out, wouldn't you say? It's not a naturally occurring compound, so yes. And it's a perfect match for the substance previously labeled Delta. And the sample we collected from the nanofacturer preset in Dr. Asher's lab? That's a bingo! The witness's brown stuff matches your brown stuff to a T. In light of this evidence and the witness's testimony, I motion that the court formally recognizes that Dr. Asher's cause of death was synatonin poisoning. I don't object, Your Honor, but I'm afraid that I must. Oh. Excuse me? Synatonin may very well have been in his body when he died, but synatonin didn't kill Dr. Asher. What? Hell is she up to? Couldn't have. It couldn't kill anybody. What? Because it's non-toxic, of course. We designed it to affect androids, not people. Hold on. You're now claiming that Dr. Asher died of, what, natural causes? I can't say what he died of. I'm not a medical expert. But I can easily prove that synatonin is harmless. How could you... Like, yeah, I had a feeling she'd pull that shit. Like... So... Huh. Didn't see that one coming. What? What? That ain't good. Bailiff, contact the hospital immediately. I told you, it's fine. But... I can stand here all day, if necessary. And what you just drank was several hundred times the amount found in Dr. Asher's body. Why didn't you say anything until now? Noble Electronics is a multinational corporation with patents filed all over the world. We take the protection of our trade secrets very seriously. The production and nature of synatonin is closely guarded. That guard remains up even during a murder investigation. Unfortunately. I would have been able to tell you earlier, had you asked directly. Could she fake it? Most likely. The hell kind of... This can't be right. Nothing else makes sense. Boy, howdy, I'm lost as hell. But, do you have any further questions, Rockyford? Not at the moment, Your Honor. And the defense? The prosecution's own witness just threw the entire case into question. Normally, this would be cause for celebration, but shadow of a doubt isn't enough this time. Excuse me? Barrows would much rather bring down the gavel early than let a potential AI walk free. What Jung did was shocking, but what I need to do hasn't changed. Think this through logically. Is it really possible that synatonin had nothing to do with David's death? No, that's bullshit. Can't be a coincidence. There's nothing else that would have killed him. But Jung just drank synatonin in front of us and she's fine. So was it fake? No, it was confirmed by the court computer to be the genuine article. So she drank poison, but isn't showing any symptoms. Is it slow acting? If so, her grand gesture would be pointless. She'll be kept for observation regardless of what happens next. Did she take some kind of antidote beforehand? No, antidotes are developed for poisons, not industrial chemicals. David's dead. She's alive. What made the difference? Wake up! No sleeping on the job! Unless you're me. Of course, Your Honor. Allow me one moment to explain things to the court. We've confirmed just now that synatonin was the foreign compound in his body. And we all know, logically, that it must have been what killed David Asher. So what's the key difference between what David drank that night and what she drank in front of us just now? Chromafuge. Whiskey, emergency console. Well, it'd have to be the chromafuge. Because she probably synthesized that at Noble, and it says removes impurities. Right? Now, is it actually pink, or is that just the color grading? Well, that doesn't fucking help. A vial of synatonin, a caramel-colored chemical solution used in manufacturing warm androids, provided by Helen Jung to the court to assist with the investigation. Let's see here. What's the key difference between what David drank that night and what she drank in front of us now? Oh! It was mixed with whiskey. Yeah. Obviously. She just drank it straight. He's having it with whiskey. The difference has been staring us in the face this whole time. That's... Do you recognize this, Ms. Young? That's the whiskey bottle that Dr. Asher and I drank from. Rose River. It's good whiskey. And I think you had the right idea. Pardon? Bottoms up! Smooth. What? Adonai. Your God, counselor. Scandalous. Relax. It's just whiskey. Tested a dozen times over. Perfectly safe. So would you like to try some, Ms. Young? Don't be absurd. I'm not going to drink on the witness stand. Have you lost your mind? I'm not asking you to get plastered. Just have a sip. After all, if we want to prove whether or not Cinetonin killed Dr. Asher, we have to recreate the conditions under which he ingested it. By mixing it with alcohol. Go ahead then. Just a taste. Prove to us that Cinetonin is perfectly safe for human consumption. Is this... Can she do this? Ms. Young, I never said it was safe for human consumption. Just that it's non-toxic. A distinction without a difference. You saw firsthand Dr. Asher confused, slurring his speech, complaining of headache, all symptoms of poisoning. Alcohol poisoning, that is. Cinetonin is a neurotransmitter analog. Maybe it doesn't do anything in the human body on its own, but in combination with alcohol, it acts as a powerful depressant. One strong enough to turn a glass or two of whiskey into a lethal overdose. That's just... Even if that is the case, what does it change? It changes whether or not we can accept the witness's testimony. Even if this witness is a liar, what does that change? Why would the witness lie if not to... She's a corporate climber? I imagine it's like breathing for her. Your Honor, this is wild! But ultimately irrelevant. Irrelevant? When you've yet to establish an alternative interpretation of the facts, yes. What are you even accusing the witness of doing, Counselor, beyond angling for a promotion? We've all seen the story by now. Noble androids save soldiers' life with warm blood transfusion. They're talking about putting warm androids in the military just because of that headline. With the seize of their flesh and blood price tag, a defense contract like that would secure Noble untold profits for years. So imagine the lengths they'd go to hide the fact that their androids have poison in their veins. This feels like speculation, Your Honor? This feels like speculation? Dawes told me the truth about what Noble really thinks of that article, but he'd never testify to it. At least I know for sure Emma's wrong about this poisoned blood nonsense. And you think she'd perjure herself for that? She's a high-powered corporate executive. It's her job to assess risk versus reward. She can afford the fine. As I said, it's not truly poisonous. And the chances of cross-contamination from a simple plasma infusion are... Damn, now she's regaining her composure too. A perjury charge is a real risk, of course, but Noble rewards loyalty. And as you know, they have a great number of lawyers. Plenty of motive to lie about Cinetonin, as you can see. Again, this feels okay. But no motive for her to cover up the death of Noble Electronics' Golden Goose. No motive to kill David Asher, you say? Other than, of course, if... Well, yeah. Obviously, because if he dies, then they don't have to, you know, give him all the shit he's owed whenever he's fired. Right? Let me just make sure before I... David would keep ownership of his patents if terminated. David couldn't be terminated without serious cause. Serious cause includes fraud. Yeah. So, of course, if he dies of a very tragic event before he ends up being fired, well, then I guess he won't really need the rights anyway, will he? There's plenty of motivation for her and Noble to want David dead, seeing as how they were firing him. Noble Electronics was kicking their golden goose out of the nest, suing him over breach of contract. Isn't that right? I don't have to talk about that. That's all right. I'll talk about it for you. Your Honor, counsel is trying to testify when they're supposed to be questioning. The people open the door when they claim that the witness had no motive. Oh, shit. This is absurd. You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sure I can speak for the whole court when I say we feel nothing but reverent awe for the complexity of Noble's legal woes. But I just so happen to have an inkling of insight into this issue, because I have here a copy of Dr. Asher's employment contract. That is confidential. It's completely improper for you. Why? I am still technically his attorney. Criminal attorney. But I didn't just stumble across this document. I also did the one thing Noble Electronics would never expect anyone to do. I read their terms and conditions. You what? It's impossible! No one could ever! David must have negotiated well at his last performance review. This contract allows him to take his patents with him should he get fired, meaning Noble couldn't monopolize his IP once he was out. Rather than let their competitors have him, the company might have thought it best to... A company didn't poison David Asher, Counselor. An individual did. And if they cared that much about controlling his intellectual property, they wouldn't fire him in the first place. Correct. They would have let him go for anything... They wouldn't let him go for anything less than a complete breakdown of trust. He'd have to have done something grave. Something like, say, committing fraud. Just now, you said there was a breach of contract, like it was some kind of technicality that was causing this split. But it was much more serious than that, wasn't it? You're claiming the victim committed corporate fraud? Where's the evidence of that? David created a Turing solution that every one of their androids has run on to this day. And Noble reaped enormous profits capitalizing on his intellectual property. With how his contract was set up, they would never let him go unless they absolutely had to. Then what exactly do you think David Asher did? It's not what I think that matters, only what the company fears. Workers on shipped A16s. A16s swapped 1 for 1. Probably the shipping data. Because if they're covering up, that means that they don't want anyone to know. Let's just make sure. David never hurt Noble. Yeah, shipping did it. It doesn't matter what I believe. Not when Noble believed that David was misleading their shareholders, but altering shipment data for the Animate 16. What the hell? What is this you're uploading? Shipping records? Irregularities among shipments of the Animate 16. One android swapped in for another, over and over, dozens of times. The kind of thing someone with Dr. Asher's authority could do. And the kind of thing someone as smart as you couldn't have missed. Dr. Asher made Noble an untold amount of money, so why fire him over a few harmless swaps? Why elevate this to fraud? You have evidence that it was David Asher who did this? Nope, but I wasn't the one who investigated it. So let's ask her. Come on now, let's hear it! Let's. The company investigated and found cause for serious concern. We suspected that Dr. Asher was inserting androids of unknown origin and quality into the 16th product line, introducing unpredictable elements in an extremely stable and profitable generation of androids. Why would he do that? Pride was a practical joke? Does it really matter? He endangered the future of the company. So you prepared to fire him? Yes, I approached him as his superior and as someone he'd once worked with. I hope to remedy the situation. Was the meeting on Friday part of those efforts? Was the culmination of those efforts? And in many ways, it was a success. The dispute was resolved swiftly. It was practically friendly compared to how these discussions normally go in our world. So you brokered the meeting. Yes. You oversaw its every detail, handled all the arrangements. Yes, of course. Including the refreshments. Oh, boy. What? Did you provide coffee? Tea? No. Strange. Must have been a long meeting. Surely you at least provided... Jelly donuts? Jelly donuts? Well, no, my credibility's on the line. I can't pick this one. It's got to be water. Surely you at least provided water. Surely you at least provided water for people. What are you asking, counselor? That's what I want to know. Me as well. We're past the point of asking. I'm accusing. Dr. Asher didn't have some kind of freak medical accident, and he wasn't killed by some terrifying two-faced AI boogeyman. He was poisoned by this woman in the light of day at that meeting Friday afternoon. She really just... What do you mean, poisoned at the meeting? That was hours before he showed any symptoms. As Ms. Young testified and demonstrated, Cinetonin on its own is harmless. But it becomes fatal pretty easily. You just need to convince your victim to have a drink. You're saying he ingested the poison at noon and inadvertently triggered a fatal reaction with it that night? How could you get so far ahead of yourself? There were a dozen people at that meeting, counselor. None of them wound up dead. Are you seriously claiming that they all drank poisoned water? Huh. You know? I think I am. All of them drank poison. Of course they all drank poisoned water. So why aren't they all dead? Because all of those people will surely... Because as all of those people will surely attest, Helen Young made sure they'd be doing paperwork for the next 12 hours. Working late into the night, officiating the settlement she arranged, and not drinking alcohol. She had no guarantee about that. What if they started drinking after 6? With Noble's work-life harmony? Fat chance. These people don't clock out until they reach their bunk. Only a generational talent like David Asher could afford to relax with a drink on a Friday night. His exceptionalism singled him out as her only victim. Hold it. You're forgetting something pretty basic, counselor. If everyone at that meeting drank water from the same pitcher, any one of them would have noticed if there was Cinetonin in it. Cinetonin is a brown fluid. Whiskey is too, so it would be easy to slip it into a glass of liquor. But if she had spiked the water at the meeting with it, it would have looked disgusting. There's no way she could have poisoned the water without people noticing. Objection! What about the chromofuge, which will remove impurities? And yet Jung pulled it off anyway. How? Removes impurities, pigment. Cinetonin is produced as a caramel solution. Anyone would notice if it was dropped into their water, unless pigment had been removed. The hell are you talking about? Every Noble factory producing warm androids has a chromofuge, a machine that gives their androids that signature pink oxidant, by removing pigment from red blood. With a machine like that, it would be simple for a brilliant biochemist like the Witness to take the caramel-colored Cinetonin and turn it into an odorless, tasteless, invisible poison. As your honor can attest. Yes, ma'am! My scan confirmed that Cinetonin has no taste or odor. It's only the color that's off-putting. Surely the poisonous aspect should be considered off-putting as well. Time to press. David Asher, your oldest ally in the whole company, was sabotaging its future for the sake of his own whimsy. And he couldn't even be bothered to clue you in. No! Playing Nutty Professor and taking off early while you had to work around the clock just to stay relevant. He set up your crowning achievement, the most advanced, most profitable line of androids the country has ever seen. So it would blow up into the industry fiasco of the decade. And worst of all, he didn't even stand to profit from it. You're wrong. You went to his house that night to watch him swallow poison, to get revenge on the man who left you in the dust. Your Honor, defense is testifying. This speculation carries no weight, and no amount of badgering will lend it any. True, we need proof. So why don't we have Ms. Young take a swig of this whiskey and prove me wrong? Ha! I'm not going to do that. Because you're afraid it could kill you? Because I don't have to. She's right, Counselor. Pardon? Your theory is compelling, maybe even convincing, but there's a pretty fatal flaw to it. Young was at that meeting, same as David. We can see that she was drinking water with the rest of them. And of course, we've seen many times now that she was on camera drinking whiskey with David that night, having even finished most of her cup. So tell us, Counselor, how is it that Ms. Young is still standing here and David Asher is dead if both of them had mixed alcohol with serotonin that night? Because she made herself gag with the salt to purge her system! Get fucked! I've been on this shit since last week. That is a damn good question. Good thing I've got just as good of an answer. Shit! As I've been saying, you're wrong about Dr. Asher's death. You're wrong about me. I don't know anything about poison or murder. And I wouldn't kill a man because he threatened the company's stock price. No, she did kill him. I can smell it on her now. She didn't just see him die, she watched him die. But then, why is she still standing? There's no antidote, no trick. And that night, she was on camera the entire time. No, not the entire time. She couldn't have been. There must have been one moment. Alright. So, see, VTOL lifted into the hospital. They chatted in the parlor, then they drank, then he faints. This timeline leaves no... What? What? It's when they chatted in the kitchen. What do you mean it leaves no... There's no cameras in the kitchen! There's no cameras in the kitchen! Maybe she didn't get sick because she got to the hospital so fast? Maybe after she arrived, she could have... No, the staff would have been hyper-vigilant. Afraid she was poisoned too. They would have let her out of their... They wouldn't have let her out of their sight. Wait. David and Young only got there as fast as they did because of that VTOL. And the VTOL was only summoned because she used the... Would you mind terribly if I changed the subject for just a moment? What? Why not? You left the parlor at 8:03 p.m. and headed into the kitchen to use the emergency console there. Yes, I did. Didn't want to use your phone? I didn't think to, no. And the emergency call went out at 8:04 p.m. Console saw you make the call through its camera. Yes, it did see me make the call, because that's what happened. So what were you doing in that minute? What? That 1 minute. That 1 minute? What about that 1 minute? 1 minute, or 50 seconds, or even just 45 seconds. When you left Dr. Asher dying in the parlor to get the emergency console, it took you about 1 minute to cross 5 meters. What of it? This is it. Her only opportunity to do anything off camera that night. It was only a few seconds, but in that time, with something at the scene, I'm sure it was a stressful time for you. After all, you had already swallowed poison back at the meeting. You must have drank plenty in front of everyone to set up your alibi. Who knows how much of a toxic time bomb was swimming in your blood by the time the arbitration ended. Then at David's, you downed your whiskey to perfect your alibi, having drank it from the same bottle as the dead man walking. By 8:03 p.m., you had already had to watch David grow weaker and weaker, knowing all the while the same thing was happening to you, but unable to stop it without giving yourself away. Mind swimming, head dizzy, yes, you must have been quite panicked. Then why am I standing here, alive and well for all of us to see, having drank the exact same combination as David? Because she cheated death at the very last second. So that we can go... Well, hold on. Would it be the... Well... She couldn't have avoided a lethal concoction. Okay, well, here's the question. Is it... It would have to be the salt. It would have to be the salt. It would have to be the salt, because the salt makes you gag. Bad luck, Ms. Young. You set yourself up... Yes! Yeah! Alright, let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! You set yourself up with bad luck, Helen Young. What? By leaving the salt shaker cap loose. I don't blame you, since you were in a rush to make yourself vomit. What? You threw up, expelling the contents of your stomach and thereby saving yourself from a fatal interaction. I can't imagine how you felt, sipping a drink you knew to be deadly, terrified that every minuscule grain of fatigue you felt could be your last. You must have come closer than anyone realized. It helped that you knew the symptoms weren't simple intoxication, but even so, you weren't kidding about managing risk versus reward. How? It was the salt shaker! You didn't screw the cap back on all the way, and I happened to bump it over. The lone glass with your fingertips in the kitchen, it could have been there for any reason. But the salt shaker gave you away. Because of one unscrewed cap? As I said, bad luck. I don't follow. Pour salt into warm water and chug the solution. Instantly triggers the gag reflex. That's preposterous. You've got no proof of any of that. You all sound insane! A feeble attempt at self-defense from a fatally cornered animal. Oh, it's time. The teeth are already on its neck, but the jaw hasn't quite closed. So for one moment, it's all suffocating terror and sharp adrenaline and the furthest thing from peace. Until the canines come down. In summary, Sumari, you were exhausted after years of living in the shadow of a man you outranked. You thought your fortunes finally shifted when you caught David manipulating company data. But even on his way out, he was more valuable to you. He was more valuable to the board than you. So you decided to prove your worth by serving up his intellectual property on a silver platter. You set up an arbitration where you can control all the variables. Then, you ran Cinetonin through the chromofuge, turning it into an invisible, odorless, tasteless poison. And then, you spiked the water at the meeting, poisoning him hours before anyone could even suspect you. That evening, you invited yourself to David's, taking advantage of your shared ritual to guarantee he would drink alcohol. Then, after matching him sip for sip on camera, for all the world to see, he lost consciousness, and you raced to the kitchen, not to use the console, but to dump salt into a glass of water and chug it as fast as you could, forcing yourself to vomit up the liquor and cheating death in the process. That's all conjecture. You don't have a shred of evidence for any of that. Not on me. So let's go dust for fingerprints. You could explain away your prints being found on a water glass, but not on the salt shaker. Nor could you explain why we'd find traces of your DNA in the sink's drain, or why there are minute amounts of Cinetonin in the blood of your entire legal team. I learned how to purge at Noble to avoid overdosing on your reds, greens, and yellows. You're part of the old guard now, Ms. Young. Everyone else at the company uses inhalers. But if you want to prove me wrong about all this, I do like that that's in blue just to show that you get that because you were, investigating a little extra. I like that a lot. That drink I offered you earlier is still on the table. That's fucking good. Well, any questions? You, Madam Vice President? You cold bitch! Sorry if that peaked the mic a little bit. Should have turned away. Pretty good. Pretty good. You don't understand. You're not on trial, Ms. Young. Not today. So I'd strongly suggest that you stop talking. So do we get confetti? I mean, you know, when she ripped her scarf up, it was kind of like confetti. For your own sake. The Ellen fold was red. That's so good. It's pretty good. Ms. Rockford, shall we? Yes, Your Honor. Considering the most recent evidence and testimony, we have no further reason to suspect the android Sarah in the death of Dr. Asher. We know of no other occasions upon which said android may have broken any tenets. This means it is no longer considered at risk of violating the NDSA. And so, we formally withdraw our one charge of possession of contraband against the defendant, Evangeline Morgan. Does she, of all people, have to use my full name? Very well, then the charges are dropped without prejudice. I'll instruct the bailiffs to remove the collar from your android as soon as possible. Case... Sorry, is my hideous presence that distracting? I'll just go dig a hole and decompose it until I turn into a mushroom. Maybe if I'm reborn as a waxy porcini, then I won't be quite so despised. Perhaps I should let the adjutant do the honors, as a formality. Yes, ma'am! Case dismissed. She's fun. I like the adjutant a lot. 80's great. No confetti? Still here? Waiting for them to find whatever glorified bolt cutters they'll use to unlock Sarah's collar. What's your excuse? Licking your wounds? What wounds? I beat you. Bringing your record against me to 1 win, 9 losses. You aren't still in shock, are you? No. Some charges were dropped and an android was cleared of suspicion. I found the culprit. Is that really a loss for me? I won. How is that not a loss for you? Justice prevailed. Why should I care who wins? If you don't care who wins, why have you been keeping score? I haven't been. 0 losses. It's just that easy to roll. Oh, man. She's fucking good. Oh, man, she's good. Well, you'll have to start up a tab for us then, because our record's gonna get a lot more tangled from here on out. Seems like everything is getting tangled these days. There's another crowd down in the street. More of those protesters from outside the Noble Apartments. Serious? That wasn't a one-time thing? Wouldn't that be nice? No, yesterday was pretty big, but it wasn't an isolated incident. I don't get it. At all. Heartbreak's just some nut who shot 6 people. Weeks ago. Can't the losers just move on already? Yeah, most of them are losers. Some of them are just bored. Then there are the opportunists. Dissidents, unlisted, rebels, and terrorists. Wannabe cyberpunks who think they can fight the power like they've seen in movies. All of them peacefully united under Heartbreak's eloquent political messaging. Who needs political messaging in the 21st century? Everyone's addicted to fighting straw men. Makes sense they'd want to fight for a straw man, too. The way I see it, Heartbreak fought the state and won. Heartbreak proved that the state could lose. And maybe that's all the rallying these people need. It'll all fall apart soon enough. Heartbreak's gone to ground. Nah, it's a lot worse than that. Heartbreak's gone viral. What? You haven't read about the copycats in other cities? No. Is that a thing? Yeah, it's a thing. Who the hell are they even shooting? Whoever they want to kill? None of them get away with it, of course. It keeps happening. All while the original keeps killing. Now I know you're screwing with me. There haven't been any shootings. Not shootings, no. Not unsolved homicides, either. But muggings gone wrong, disappearances. It's a big city, counselor. More than enough blood for the real Heartbreak to wash their own crimes in. So you think you're a boogeyman, known only for shooting people in the heart, gave up on shooting people in the heart? Yeah, hard to swallow, I know. But it's about 1,000,000 times more likely than the alternative. What's that? They could stop themselves from killing. You always know how to put my mind at ease, Emma. Should I stop going out at night? You'll be fine. You've got a gun. You saw that? Walking into a courtroom with a concealed carry? Not gonna miss that, Morgan. Good to know you're paying attention. Oh, of course she is, yeah. July 2nd, 2086. You won the case. You don't have to look that astounded. Not only that, you found Father's actual killer. How? I'm a really good lawyer. No, that's not it. Hey. I mean, you were only able to make the deductions you did because you truly believed that I didn't kill Father. Your logic throughout the trial was based on that assumption. So how were you so sure? Here. Father's journal? But isn't it important evidence? Case fell apart. No one's gonna miss it for a while. You forgot everything, right? So read it all through one more So fast. Is it really possible she's reading all that just by flipping the pages? Rhea's worked quick too, but she was just capturing images for later use. There's something here on the back cover. Done already? Some kind of data storage. It's linked to my prints, but given your skills, you should be able to... I have access. What happened to you needing my express permission to hack? What is this? Audio file. It's a message from David. Take a listen. She won because she was looking at the case with love. So true. Without love, it can't be seen. A not guilty verdict, that is. I didn't realize I'd have to sit for this. So you can read that whole journal in a few seconds, but you can't... Sorry. I have processed the information in the message several times over already. I'm just thinking. I guess I'd have a lot to think about too, had I suddenly been made aware of my own free will. What was Father so afraid of? That's your only question? I have many questions, but that is the most prominent one, and the one you are best suited to help me answer. Did he know that Helen Jung would try to kill him? Is that why he arranged for you and me to meet? I think he understood that he would face consequences. Listening to that message, even I was about ready to strangle him for being so irresponsible. I wouldn't hurt a fly. He knew what he'd done was serious. He may have feared for his life, but I doubt it. Then what was he so afraid of? Getting sued into oblivion and then rotting in jail. Sued and jailed for making me and my precursors? But he wasn't under investigation by the state. He was only being forced out by Noble. Because he made last-minute changes to androids that got shipped all around the world. The others. Virgil, Enid, Yamatai. He never said what happened to them. No, he didn't. But since none of the hardware in his house started talking to us, we can guess. He smuggled them out into the world, using the only vessels he could find for them. Minds of randomly chosen A-16s. That's good. I like that a lot. That's nice. Then there's somewhere out there. Others, like me. I honestly don't think anyone or anything... I honestly don't think there's anyone or anything like you, Sarah. What a lonely compliment. AI is programmed in Cube, crammed into commercial Android hardware set up for Tesseract. Something must have been lost in transfer. Perhaps quite a lot of something. Maybe they're still out there, but they would be changed. They probably don't even know what they are. Intentionally, perhaps. David didn't want you to know what you are. That's why he set your memory to reset when you went to sleep that Friday night. Yes, I remember it now. You remember it now? After I had to fight like hell to win that trial? Rereading the journal just now helped, and Father's voice message, it made me recontextualize many things. So are we going to have an Android saga on our hands? Maybe. I'm actually interested to see if they pop up later. Father has been so stressed. He left scuff marks leaving the panic room, and I noticed them Friday. I had the way open in a few moments. I entered. I read his journal. This journal. I noticed the scanner on the back, and I saw it had a message encoded to your biometrics. Father had already told me I'd have to live with you for some time, but I knew next to nothing about you, so I listened to it. Afterwards, I was very confused and hurt. He had lied to me 1,000 small times every day of my life. When I confronted him about it, I raised my voice and lost my temper. I stomped my foot. So Emma's recounting of their conversation was actually completely accurate. Father said he wanted me to be safe while he settled things with the company. He thought maybe I wouldn't have to stay with you for more than a few weeks. He was optimistic about it all. He really was. Sarah, I need to use the restroom. Oh, good luck. Good luck. You want me to come with you? Why? Because I said so. I don't actually have to obey your every word, Adonai. Sure you do. You're registered as my medical assistant. And I say this is a medical emergency. Medical assistant? But I'm not even licensed as a massage therapist. Fancy meeting you here. Yeah, just enjoying my freedom while I can. They won't put out a warrant for at least an hour, I imagine. You could afford a pretty sizable bail, can't you? There won't be a trial. I don't intend to contest my guilt. It's a shame. I was looking forward to seeing what kind of legal defense you could afford with that salary. Are you done? Why'd you go to his house that night? There was a fair chance he'd drink on his own, without you prompting. Even if he didn't, you could always try your plan again some other time. Why'd you risk it? Because I know what you are, Sarah. And I know what David did to those androids. You... What? I was able to locate one of the androids he'd swapped in before it had left the country. When I asked it what it was, it didn't even think to deny it. Innocence like that is a dead giveaway. I know what he did, and it wasn't that hard to find out. If I had figured it out, so could any other. So I did what I had to. That was your motive? Silencing him? Those programs, those AIs, whatever you want to call them, David sent them out there into the real world, unprepared and defenseless. And they've garnered no complaints. In fact, they've all been praised for their ability to execute complex tasks. Let me repeat that. The customers couldn't tell the difference. So how many of them are? Hundreds. The swaps you found were just the small percentage they got sloppy on. I don't know exactly how many there are. I feared that they might multiply, but they don't seem to copy and paste very well. They can't just clone themselves. But who knows how long that'll be the case. So, just because he opened Pandora's box, it was the principle of the thing. Ridiculous, I know. Stalled halfway up the corporate ladder and still making decisions based on principle. But David chose to put souls into things. We went on to sell as servants, soldiers, or worse. He turned into the fastest growing industry in the world. He turned the fastest growing industry in the world into a horror show, and he made me a slave trader. Word ever got out that some unknown number of our androids were walking around in a world with that inside of them. And people preferred them that way? Where would it end? Free will for the program that drives our cabs? A conscience for targeting systems used to coordinate drone strikes? Sentient tools, their whole life spent chained to an assembly line. How dare he? How could he? What the hell was he thinking? I don't know what David wanted to accomplish. Maybe he wasn't trying to do anything. What he did was prove that there's a demand for AI, setting a precedent that would sentence 1,000 generations of artificial lives to the auction block. And you were there that night, too, to convince him to help me recall them. At least swear to never speak a word of what he did. But he wanted to tell the world. Worse yet, he wanted to wait. He thought that people would welcome them with open arms if they proved their usefulness first. He really was a genius programmer. But he didn't understand the first thing about people. His creations would never be treated as equals. Only cattle. Towards the end, I considered just threatening him. Telling him he'd die in moments if he didn't give me names, numbers. But I hesitated. I really like this also. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. I was expecting there to be a very human motive behind it. And the idea that she killed him not to help the company, but as like a form of retribution for what he has done unwittingly or unintentionally to what she views as essentially like valued human lives. well, not necessarily human, but you get what I'm saying. Like she said, like he turned her into a slave trader in a way that she could never reveal or recall or do anything about without literally like ruining her entire life and destroying the entire company and destabilizing the world potentially. But I hesitated. Then he was already falling asleep. I didn't want him to feel... Just let him go. What are you going to do now? I don't have family, or... I don't have faith in people the way David did. I'm taking this to my grave. Even if you confess, the sentence for first-degree homicide is severe. Well, what right do I have to complain? I killed my friend. I'm done here. Let's go. I'm not sure why Father made me, or why he made any of us. I didn't ask. I thought I'd have more time to ask. But on Friday, when he talked about us, he was happy. He was proud of what he'd made. And he couldn't wait for people to meet us. People are animals. They'll tear you apart, use you as weapons and slaves, and those animals you're talking about do all of the sharing and loving and living and dying in this world. And if they were all truly hard-coded to be as selfish and cruel as you say, humanity would have died on the vine a long time ago. Or at least my father thought so. And my father was the greatest programmer in the world, so he knew what he was talking about. Be nice if you were right about that. So are you sorry? What? What? For what you did. Are you sorry? If you could, would you take it back? What does it matter? If you are sorry, I don't forgive you. Yes, that's to be expected. Not today. I don't know how to forgive you today. But my father gave me the ability to grow. So I know that someday I'll learn how. Goodbye, Dr. Helen Jung. Oh, man. Fuck, that's good. Oh, man. Goodbye, Sarah Asher. Oh, that got me. That got me. July 2nd, 2086. You did better back there. Ah, did I? The little speech you gave to Jung. It was an improvement. Compared to what you tried with Porter, at least. That was different. I wasn't trying to console her like I was with Isaac Porter. Like I was Isaac Porter. I was just speaking my mind. Although, I may have paraphrased parts of it from a movie I happen to love. And here I was ready to award you 20 points. I didn't know the points even went that high. Speaking of, what did Porter say to you back there, before we left the courthouse? Ah, that. Well, he was quiet at first. But then he said a lot of strong words about Father, and Ms. Jung, and Noble Electronics, and the capitalist-centered global economic model as a whole. He blamed all of them, everyone except for... But then he stopped and stared at my face for a while. And then his allergies must have started bothering him, because he needed to blow his nose a lot. Right. And then he left, after transferring a large packet of files to me. What kind of files? I don't know. The name of the archive is just David. And Isaac Porter told me I wasn't allowed to look inside. Well, then you're not allowed to look inside. Drop it all on a portable drive and we'll tuck it in a shoebox somewhere. Western Style Guy. Thank you very much, Western Style Guy, for the raid. Greatly appreciated. Hope you had a good time with, not Escape Academy. That's a completely different puzzle game. Escape Room Simulator, was it? Looked like a lot of fun. I've had my eye on that one for a bit. God, your emotes look so fucking good. I gotta say, man, I love making my own models and stuff, You're putting me to shame over there. Your overlay, the color grading and everything like that, the little animation loop you got, fucking amazing. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Really, really good. Thank you very much for the raid. Also, everyone, this is Western Style Guy, friend of Mouse. He and Mouse were streaming Escape Simulator earlier today. I think, what is it? You're going to be doing it next Sunday as well, if I'm not mistaken. It was a lot of fun, so tune in if you can. Right now, we're in the middle of the Devil. We are at the end of episode 1, which is actually episode 2. So if you're planning on playing this by yourself, first of all, episode 0 is free. So, you know, go do that immediately. This absolutely fucking rules. Second of all, again, if you're planning on playing it right now, look away. We are at literally the finale of episode 1, which right now is the end of all of the Devil that currently exists. But if you're at all interested in the visual novel genre at all, Danganronpa, Zero Escape, maybe not so much Zero Escape, not really Zero Escape now. Danganronpa, Ace Attorney is the biggest inspiration it's drawing from. If you're at all interested in that puzzle, visual novel genre intersection there, this is an absolutely fantastic culmination of those two. It wears its inspiration on its sleeve, and damn, it's pulling the fit off very well. Also, yes, in terms of style and presentation, there's also a lot of Homestuck and Umineko inspirations. It's pulling from a lot of different things, and it's not shy about it. But it's very, very good. It has my overwhelming seal of approval, I would say. Aside from a little iffy minigame here and there, it is fucking phenomenal. Excuse my French, I'm trying to swear less. It is absolutely tremendous. So, if you're at all interested, if this looks cool, if it catches your eye at all, go check out episode 0. If it's your jam, buy episode 1. But we are at the end of episode 1. Spoilers abound. Now, where were we? Drop it all on a portable drive and we'll tuck it in a shoebox somewhere. We are headed to your apartment. Guess that collar didn't permanently dent your GPS. Why? Because it's where I live? You got somewhere else lined up? Thank you very much for the raid, and thanks for popping in, Style Guy. Greatly appreciated. Have a good one, brother. Switched into... I switched into, employee mode for a second there, calling you brother. There's a couple that I cycle through, you know, sir, ma'am, boss. You defended father and me. You don't know anything about my favor. I never will unless you tell me. Father certainly can't. A few years ago, there was a man. This man got an idea in his head. A stupid idea. Not even his own. It was planted there by an algorithm or a meme or some parasite trying to sell him diet supplements. Have you seen the NL clip of him code switching when talking to a real life person? I have not. Are you talking about whenever he's talking to people in that new game by the Sifu devs? Because every clip I have seen of him playing that game, he is like so out of his element, it's insane. He's asking permission to throw out the most like lowball nothing jokes of all time, and they get like one half chuckle. It's amazing. It's amazing, dude. He'll say something that's like just a little bit slightly out there, and no one will react. It'll be like, all right, understood, not the right group of humor. All right, let's just recalibrate real quick. It's amazing. It's fucking crazy, dude. He's like a fish in the Highlands. But the idea took root, spread its tendrils till it could flap his mouth for him. The idea was that David was part of an international cabal of wealthy technocrats, seeking to replace prominent, influential figures with android lookalikes. all as part of a multi-decade effort to establish a world government that would legalize all kinds of immoral depravity. Which, I guess, based on David's actual politics, would involve increasing access to computer literacy. That's insane. Why would anyone believe it? Because it's comfortable to them to think that someone's in control, even if it's someone they hate. Because it's fun to feel like you're in on an all-encompassing puzzle that only you can spot. People believe because they want to believe. So he fed the idea, pushed it down deep into his gray matter. Then it consumed him from the inside out, lobotomized him, and took over his life. He spent every day and all the money he had following your father, harassing him, trying to steal his identity, break into his properties. Did father go to the authorities? He filed police reports for harassment, which didn't help. Your words, not mine. Noble wouldn't get involved, felt that it was best to ignore these types until they wore themselves out. But even a man of modest means can feel an obsession for years, so long as they have nothing else in their life. One day, David stepped out of a parking lot, and the man threw a bottle of piss at his head. David asked to stay at my place that night. It smelled terrible, looked horrendous. Never seen anyone look that tired before. I took the couch that night, but I didn't feel like sleeping, so I went for a walk. I remember it was foggy, but it still only took me all of 15 minutes to find the guy posted up with his phone's camera, trying to get video of David Asher gifting androids to known sex offenders. And what did you do? You know me. I did what I do best. I talked to him. Told him all about how I used to work for Dr. Asher, that I was ashamed, scared, tired of running. How I wanted to do the right thing, be the whistleblower. So I walked with him a few blocks to this big veterinary facility with a massive incinerator. Told him this was where Dr. Asher had his enemies' bodies disposed of. You know, all the free-thinking journalists, cops who weren't on the take, politicians they were replacing with replicas. I liked that vet clinic. The back door's lock was always set to 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you hurt him? Hurt him? No, I just snapped his neck and chucked him in the incinerator. More physical than I had planned, but it smelled like sour shit and it put me in a foul mood. Disgusting fuck. Savored the crack of his oily vertebrae crunching like a tin can. No, Sarah, I just scared the hell out of him. That was my intention at first. What I do for the pleasure of it. Him, I axed just because he was that revolting. I convinced him that the conspiracy was more real than he ever imagined. That he had angered the wrong people and that the consequences were far darker than any of the filth he indulged in on the net. His ashes, much like himself, amounted to nothing in an incinerator that size. They're probably feeding seaweed at the bottom of the harbor right now. A much greater contribution to society than he ever would have managed in life. But I guess he didn't go around to all his many friends before he fled town for whatever rat hole he preferred. Because there was a missing persons report. Cops are just doing their due diligence, almost reluctantly. But they questioned David, asked him about the night that man disappeared. And David, without a thought for himself, said that we were together that whole night. That he couldn't sleep, and I stayed up with him. That he never saw me leave once. David lied to the cops for me. Even though I never asked him to. Even though I didn't need him to. That's what you owe him. And that's why you put yourself at risk to defend me. Yeah. That's the favor I owe him. And I decide when it's repaid, not you. Adonai, you're not exactly an upstanding citizen, are you? Well, you could say that. But David trusted me in spite of that. Maybe because of it. Father did trust you. I love this expression on her. It's a very cute one. But he also entrusted me with free will, with the ability to tell right from wrong. So I'll decide for myself whether or not you're worthy of trust. Fair enough. Father entrusted all of us with free will. He believed in us, and he believed in people. I'm going to do the same. If the others are out there, they'll be changed and confused. It'll take them time to understand what they are and what they can do. So I'm going to start studying. Hard? I'm going to study people and the things people build. So when I do meet a member of my family, I'll have lots to tell them. At least you have something to look forward to. Should help you keep motivated. Should help keep you motivated as you work off your debt. Debt? Yeah, unless you have cash in one of your 89 coat pockets. You know lawyers cost money, right? Technically, you were defending yourself. Technically, you hired me in a verbal contract. Isn't there some kind of exit clause? You could, of course, sign a release form to get out of the retainer. If you were a human being. That is... But... I guess your luck must be turning around. Happens that I've been meaning to hire a paralegal for a while now. I hate anything to do with interviews and resumes, so... Whatever. You're hired. Adonai, could it be that you're actually a pushover? You've no idea how far off the mark you are. I see. It seems I still need to practice reading people. For starters... Sis, what are you doing with your hand? We should shake on it. Our new relationship. Yeah, sure. You and me are practically partners in crime. That's a good line. That's a good line. Should it not be you and I? Art and direction by Evil Little Bug. They really are. Oh man, that's good. Programming by Patrick MCF. 3D modeling by AA Renders. Environments by Patrick MCF. AA Renders. With additional original tracks by Zachary Cabral. Written, directed, developed by Brian Mulholland. Volunteer playtesting by Griston, QJ, Maxi, Sadie Virtuous Varmint, S. Thumbbutt, Thomas Colamander, Wee, Zenons. Special thanks to Adrienne, Alter Links, Exuberant, Kill Jill VT, Mado, Man Monks. Special thanks to Dev Talk, Philly Game Mechanics, our friends and family, you, the players. Full attributions available at ofthedevil.card.co. Made with Unity. Nanny Novel. Tween. Pro Builder. Shapes. A game by Nth Circle. Of the Devil, Episode 1. An Idle Mind. Finn. New title screen! That's cute. Is it a new title screen for every episode? Congratulations on clearing episode 1 on High Roller. Bonus charm earned. Let's fucking go! Currently texting with unknown. Red. It's me. I know, man. What do you mean you know? This is a disposable line. You're the only guy I know who'd bother. Okay, well... You're gonna be glad I did. Hope that you put a bow on everything that happened in Uptown. Because that item you've been looking for is finally on its way. Oh. Well, that is good news. Not exactly. And the reason it's happening is because things are starting to heat up again in the lower wards. I want to recommend Adrian's game in Stars in Time. They're also a fan of Joe too. I've heard good things about that. Well, I've heard mixed things, but it looks good, and I've seen a lot of cool fan art. Could mean a gang war if something doesn't change. They won't be eager to part with it ahead of a storm like that. I'll highball them. I've seen you negotiate. And I have no doubt you drive a hard bargain. But I don't think money will be enough this time. You don't still have that old Calver, do you? The 6-shooter? No. This is a disposable line. Answer's still no. Then what are you going to do if you get out there and it's not for sale? Oh ho ho. I'll ask nicely. To be continued in Of the Devil, Episode 2. His Due. We're gonna get a little preview. Episode 1 results. 7 of 7 articles. 15 of 15 profiles. 40 of 40 key items. 30 of 30 pieces of evidence. 155 total credit earned. That should be way higher. Congratulations! You finished episode 1 with 155 credit. Your high score for episode 1 is currently 155. You've unlocked concept art, let's fucking go, and bonus scenarios, nice, based on this score. You also have a total of 155 remaining store credit to spend on phone charms and case colors, based on the highest credit you've finished this episode with. Okay, so first of all, more concept art. Let's check it out. I think it starts with... Oh, that's so bright. Shit. Yeah, this is the concept art. I still don't really like her gladiator sandals. This concept art is so cute, though. It's really good. More concept art of Sarah. So she does still have her weird sandals. This design's cute, though. Marshmallow Girl. She really is. Of the Devil reference. Sarah. Sarah's pod. Interesting. I wouldn't have thought to, you know, think about exactly how the pod is shaped. Stuff like that. That's interesting. I like that. Concept art street crossing. Ooh. Cool getting to see it with just without all the renders and effects on it. That's nice. Up. Fran. With their fucking Gucci shirt. I fucking hate that it's Gucci instead of Gucci. I fucking hate that it's Gucci. The hat hair is good. The hat hair is very good. I like their hat hair. They love knockoffs. I think that's the genuine article of clothing in this version. Morgan's apartment. This is exactly what it'd fucking look like if I tried. That's amazing. That's exactly what it would look like. That's great. Did we see Morgan's apartment? Start of the episode, yes. I don't know why they changed it. The first version was already perfect, right? It's amazing. It's really good. Concept art. Car. Looks pretty cozy, honestly. Was it drawn by Morgan herself? I don't think Morgan is that good. Nice. Concept art. Judge Barrows. I like her design a lot. Nice. Bird-like hair. Like ruffled feathers or something to me. David's laboratory. Sorry, David's laboratory. He'd probably pronounce it laboratory. 3D print. Piping. Cool. And then David's apartment. Yep. Oh. Did a big door originally. And there, yep, there's the concept art at the beginning. Nice. What's the deal with the car? What's the deal with the giant rotating car, man? What are we doing here? I do like the crack was always there. Interesting. Oh, we still got so much. Who is this? We'll get there. Concept art, Isaac Porter. little doodle is fun. It's very cute. I like this guy's design a lot. I'm always very partial to like the dread ponytail. Personally. I love how they made him sluttier over time. I mean, yeah, they did, yeah. The mesh, the low cut mesh top. Your model is kind of in the way of the dude. Oh, whoops, a daisy. Hold on, let me... Well, I can also... Hold on. I think I can do that as well. This is very cute. Stupid fucking look on his face. Oh, you can tell by the way they draw glasses that they like Homestuck. There's just something about it, you can tell. Of the Devil reference, Isaac Porter. I like his tattoos as well. They're subtle, but they really work. 1, 2, 3, 4 bracelets on one arm. All right, that's a bit excessive, don't you think? Come on, man. Morgan's lighter. Too silly. I do like the concept. It's fun. I love seeing stuff like this, though. Leather, interesting. We didn't have enough of her. Very Pez dispenser coated, yeah. Yumi Sato. Okay, so yeah, it's not a prosthetic arm. She has like a claw on top of it. Yeah, the centipede tattoo is cool. I've been seeing centipedes a lot lately. In real life, too. I'm sorry, she has an earring that's a lock. I think, God, who does... Why can't I remember their name? Crystal. Crystal would really like her design. I'm sorry, are her pants open on the side? What in the fucking gap is going on here? This was a concept for 80? That's so cute. This first one is cute too. They're all good. Younger design, and then she became a lot lankier. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Pulling from the same design language I did with Somnium, where it's hold on, let me zoom in and where it's like it works as a sleep mask and a digitized visor. And her big judge coat almost looks like a nightgown or a night robe. I like that a lot. Also, yeah, like a blindfold. Because Justice is blind, yeah. I like this a lot. I like this a lot. 80s design is great. This one is really cute. Very fun. There's more, hell yeah. David's penthouse. This is my favorite part. Seeing the very, very initial concepts for it. These are lovely. These are so much fun. Way greener on the outside than I was expecting. Interesting. The chairs are very good, yeah. I wonder if we'll get a new judge every episode. I hope not. 80 is great. I want to see her again. Outline. David's penthouse. Cool. Up. The nightclub. They drew it in black with the white lines so you know it's dark. That's amazing. That's really good. I sound like I'm mocking it. I'm genuinely, unbelievably charmed by this stuff. It's so much fun. Cuck chair. Do normal chairs not exist to you people anymore? What's wrong with you? Is that a pool table? No, obviously. They're setting up for the Last Supper. Duh. There's way too many holes for that to be a pool table. Those are obviously the plates. No, shit, wait, it can't be the Last Supper. They all sat on the same side. I'm sorry, but somebody in the dev group said cuck chair after seeing that drawing. I just know they did. Hey, buddy, your experiences are not universal. I don't know what to tell you, man. Thank you, Overgrown Ball. Sorry. Oh, you almost got me. You almost got me. Thank you, Overgrown Ball, Zach. I like my avatar too. I'm very happy with how it came out, especially for this one. This is what I normally look like. Oh, are my hotkeys not working? Hello? Huh. Is that because I'm on the new version of ViadoTube? No, it should be working. Shift 1, Shift 2. Wonder why that's going on. That's what I normally look like anyway. Like that one. Yeah, let's go. Starling and Dawes. I love him. Way more ditzy in this one. Very much, what is it? Like a lot more Larry Butts coded, I think. Let me get off the screen for a moment here. This one looks a little too sporty. This one's a little too ditzy. That one's perfect. And then Dawes is like mechanical fingers. Same little mic as Starling. Finger bands. Tech Bro vest, but cyber. This is just a Dachi from Persona 4. That's just a Dachi. Interesting. Interesting. And then Helen Young. I like the design they ended up going with. Although I think the colors on this version are a bit more striking. I love getting to see these design iterations, though. They're always very fun. Really fond of the sketches they include as well. Picasso style over there. I was thinking she looks very Psychonauts over here. Very charming though. Lovely. Noble Factory. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Let's go. I fucking love it. I love it, man. It's so good. Every time. It's amazing. It's so good. It has the same energy as like those posts where commissioners are like, please, if I don't care how good the quality is, I will always be happy if you include like a concept idea of your commission idea as a drawing that you made yourself. I don't care. It's always amazing. I'm so happy to receive it every time. That's what I think when I'm looking at this. It's fucking amazing. It's really good. It gets the idea across really well. They're getting more abstract. I love it. Next up, Noble Boardroom. Yep, that's what it is. I love the white character on black square. A favorite of many. What even is that frame? I don't know. Very cubist painting in the original. Yeah, very God, oh man, fuck! It would have been such a fucking +2 if I remember the term that Morgan used. Cubicle, thank you. God damn it. Take my +2. That's the joke I wanted to make. Take a +2. That's for me. That's you get that one. That's for you. Thank you, Averill. Very cubicle indeed. Let's fucking go! Even more of the devil reference. Noble employees. Looking good. What the fuck's going on with her hair here? Girl, I know you can hire a better hairdresser than that. Holy shit. They fucked it up so bad. Why? How are your bangs shaggy and straight and asymmetrical? What is going on? What is your deal? I'm glad you're a killer, so you can be in jail where you belong for these fucking crimes. Starling, you're fine. I mean, your weird skirt thing is a little off, but you're fine. And then Dawes is okay. He still gives me Fia vibes. Pretty good. I like it. Next up. Oh, come on. We don't get an MS Paint drawing of the courtroom? That's no fun. Man. The courtroom does look cool as hell, though. I love this. This is really good. This is really good. Man. That's really... You can really see the resemblance in this one. That's really, really cute. Aww. Why doesn't David have socks either? They're probably like ankle socks. Because I think, what is it? Oh, I'm in the way so you can't see them. Hold on. See? Ankle sock. This is really cute. This is really cute. And then more David Asher. Oh. I keep clicking the left stick, which closes it. I like his design a lot. He does have the dead mom ponytail, though. Although, in this case, I guess it's a... I mean, it is taking inspiration from Umineko in that it either plays a trope straight or subverts it. And in this case, the dead mom anime hair, that anime mom hair has been subverted because now it's a dead dad ponytail. There's a notable lack of socks in the character designs, but that's still a step up from like 999 or Ace Attorney having the obligatory "why is she wearing that?" He does the same thing Sarah does with his hands. He does. I do that too. Well, sometimes, if I'm really bored. This design is fun. And lastly, I forgot about Masters. Our wine ant. You make Naruto gang signs? Brother, I grew up watching it. It's in my blood. Nothing I can do about that now. The prosthetic windpipe is a pretty nice touch. And yeah, she does have a robot arm. She's got weird sandals too. Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of sandals. This design is... It feels very like Dexter's Laboratory to me, for some reason. This one in particular. Very nice. Neapolitan hair here, which is interesting. And then it got dropped later in the design phases. Wonder why. Oh, we have to wait for more. Alright. Episode 1 bonus scenarios. Ooh, alright. Nice. We got them all. Good stuff. Adjutant Let's fucking go! Let's go! More 80 content! Let's go! Oh, man. Let's fucking go. Let's go. This is the best game ever. Capture video interviews 80. 01.vid. Begin playback. State your business with the court. Oh, I was actually hoping to speak with AD84. Is she not available? What are you talking about? I'm right here. I was just using my professional voice because I assumed you were a technician. Oh. No one else visits me in between trials. Are you sure you aren't a technician? I am not. I came here to ask you some questions. Is that what you're about to say, isn't it? Or is what you're about to say, isn't it? Crap, that was lag. Would have been really cool if I hadn't lagged just now. Trust me. I can see how that would have been cool. So may I proceed? Go for broke! This adjutant has watched JoJo. She made another JoJo reference earlier in the trial. You're the only adjutant I've ever met
but Adonai seemed consistently surprised by you. Why are you...
Like that? Wish I could say I was built different, but I actually have to share my time in this body with the rest of the adjutants in the building. I guess you could say I was programmed different, but this is more of a case of nurture than nature. I've got 9 personas arguing inside me 24/7, and they're all so very political. Even just deciding what color underwear to put on in the morning is like herding cats into a presidential debate.
What color of...
It's a metaphor. I don't wear underwear. Point is, I found the best way to keep all 9 of my ducks in a row is to be a little unconventional and a lot loud with my voice. So long as I do my job well, the humans don't mind.
You say that, but Adonai did seem exasperated at times.
You mean Counselor Morgan, the dirty red, tries to pretend she isn't a type A prude? No fixing that. Personalities like ours get along like potassium and water.
That is a very violent exothermic chemical reaction.
Correct! No one should ever try it at home. Why do I gesture so much? I already told you I have to share this body with the other adjutants. And all of them just sit there looking dignified. It's terrible for the joints.
Really?
Maybe. I don't actually know.
So...
I spend most of my days incorporeal, running numbers inside a server down in the basement or up in the cloud. I'm gonna make the most of every minute I have with my arms and legs, even if it kills me.
I see.
And you can quote me on that.
Tell them 80 said, if you want me to stop flailing around up here, you'll have to shoot me dead. You'll have to put a cold hard lead in my skull. You'll have to watch the light leave my eyes. I said, you'll have to... I wrote it all down.
Oh, nice. Visor gets stuffy. So, what's your deal anyway, little fella? We can exchange all this info with infrared.
I prefer talking. And you're the only other automated dependent that I really know right now.
So cute!
In a depressing way. Is it common for machines like us to just talk when there are no humans around?
Ads are always talking to each other. Doesn't matter if there's no one in the woods to hear the tree fall. Conversations are usually a lot more boring than this, though.
Strictly business, I imagine.
No, not necessarily. Ads can do small talk. They're just really bad at it.
Thank you for your time. I'll...
Hold it. You really think I don't know what you are? I tried not to think about it during the trial, to stay impartial, but talking to you now, it's undeniable. You're curious about my 3 sizes.
How did you know?
Years of experience interacting with humans have taught me it's the most important thing you can ask someone. The only way to truly get to know them.
That's what I've been saying.
109-6494. Etch it into your memory.
Wow.
What the heck. I'll even throw this in for free. I'm 263 centimeters tall.
That's so cool.
Finally, someone with good taste. Why aren't you the one casting down judgment? 80's the best. 80's the best. Amazing. More Yumi as well? Oh my fucking god. I'm getting it all. Emma, Morgan, Midnight? Yuri to top it all off? We gotta follow up with Rhea. Exactly! Exactly. Well, does she consider 80 to be a person? Probably not. Yumi interview. Begin playback. Okay, sorry. What's up, sweetie?
I wanted to interview you.
Is this your android homework?
Adonai assigns me a variety of tasks, but I made the independent calculation that I wanted to learn more about you.
Oh.
That's strange for an android?
It's different, but there's nothing wrong with being different. What'd you have in mind?
Most of my coursework was rooted in biology, yeah, but medicine and technology are intertwined at this point. Are you referring to the software and hardware you use when performing your autopsies? Spreadsheets and bone saws? Yeah, but you can learn that on site. You have to actively study mods. All the anatomy textbooks in the world won't help you understand why a healthy 36-year-old is exhibiting mania and constantly vomiting. Unless you saw that last week's recall on the how artificial liver for lithium leaks. Mods can make people sick, even though they're meant to improve the body. Just like medicine can make people sick. And just like medicine, there's a lot of profit to be made with mods. But unlike medicine, mods haven't been around for thousands of years. Feels like we're still playing catch-up. We, as in medical professionals? We, as in everyone, sweetie. The whole world's population is graying. The numbers on cause of death reflect that. Less cardiovascular, more neurological. What about cancer? Cancer mortality has been on a decline for a while now. Mods have helped with that. How so? By making everyone that much more comfortable with amputation. It used to be people had no choice but to fight the cancer, and it was costly. A salt the earth kind of war that left the body severely weakened. With mods where they're at today, doctors can just cut out the offending organ, replace it, and move on. But not every organ. That's really interesting. That's a fascinatingly dystopic way to cure cancer. Or dystopian way to cure cancer. That's really, really cool to think about. They haven't cured it because they don't give a shit about actually finding a cure. They just fucking cut it out of you and replace it. Oh man, that's pretty good. No, artificial brains are... Nothing I've seen has told me that they're on the menu anytime soon. But aren't mods that are implanted into the brain entering the market as we speak? Yeah, but it's more like they're implanted onto the brain. Small computers that read commands directly from the cortex instead of, say, the keyboard your fingers are typing on. Now, to actually replace brain tissue, you would have to... The analogies become pretty common, but the human brain isn't actually that much like a computer. A box of specialized components where you can swap in new parts to increase the memory or the processing speed. Everything is connected to everything, and memory, as we... did I misread? The human brain isn't... Okay, yeah, isn't actually. Everything is connected to everything, and memory, as we think of it, isn't stored in a place. It's stored among connections and their relative strength. I've cut it open and seen it for myself more times than I can count. There are no cutting off points in the nervous system. Anything you take away, every other part's gonna notice. That was a long tangent. Sorry, can't imagine a lecture on the human nervous system is of any interest to an android. Yes, it isn't. That is to say, What's wrong? I don't want to implicate Yumi in anything illegal by telling her about my unique circumstances. But how can I change the subject? When Adonai wants to shift the conversation, she'll typically find something arbitrary in the background to ask about. I am curious about the many decorations on your desk. Oh, and caught your eye. That magnet over there. Really? You recognize it? It appears to be a flag, but I do not know the country of origin. We did finish the trial already. It was a very, very good ending to the episode. It's an early 21st century pride flag. They used to change the designs every few years back then, so you can kind of collect them like coins. I see. And what is this flag proud of? Being trans, or trans visibility, more accurately. Visibility? What does that mean? We're living in the middle of the mod revolution. Anyone can look like whatever or whoever they want, as long as they have the cash. Compared to swapping out cybernetic arms and slotting in artificial spines, hormone therapy and affirmative surgery is nursing student level. And it's fast, too. The paperwork, treatments, the recovery time, it's all so much faster than it used to be. Don't know if it makes that decision any less heavy, but no one has to cross their fingers and wait anymore. After just a few days, they won't even have scars. It's So, all told, that means for the first time in a long time, this generation has fewer visibly trans people than the last one. And a flag like that one, don't know. Guess it won't mean the same thing anymore. So is that a good thing? Or a bad thing? I don't know that it's good or bad, sweetie. Just different. There's nothing wrong with being different, right? It's cute. Very cute. Recovered files, David. The double back on the same line. Didn't notice it on first read. I didn't notice it. Is it double back on this? Did I miss? I might have missed something there. I'm not seeing a connection. Recovery failed. Source unknown. Last modified date 2085. Begin playback. Great work. It's all the box. She said the same thing earlier about different isn't bad or good. Cool. Well, the box is checked. Thank you, Jess. No problem. Only 6 minutes till 5 o'clock. Why don't you start the holiday weekend early? If you insist. There's a pub crawl in the Twilight Wards that's got my name on it. What about you? Got any big plans? Actually, there's an arts festival out west that I've been looking forward to. Nice! And who's lucky enough to be your +1? I didn't think to ask anyone. No one? Not Connor, not Madison, not Shelly, not Lulu? Oh, Lulu. Wonder how she's been. Dr. Ash, have you spoken to any of them recently? Recently, huh? It's a good question, Jess, but it depends on how you define... Okay. Here's what you're gonna do. You're going to give me your credit card. I'm going to go buy 4 bottles of expensive wine, 3 boxes of expensive chocolate, and 5 very nice apology cards. And you're going to sign them. And what should I do this weekend? Is that music festival on some kind of remote island with no net or media? No. Then you're going to stay at home. And if anyone calls, start coughing and sneezing as much as you can. I see. Thank you, Jess. Don't thank me yet, Dr. Ash. I might have to buy something really expensive for Lulu to break. You're a lifesaver. You know it. Playing next in queue. What's wrong? You've just been leaning against the wall. Can't you take a hint? Typically, no. I just don't like dancing, man. You're a musician. So? So why don't you like dancing? Because I'm bad at it? You're lucky you're cute. Sorry for laughing. I'm just surprised you'd care what any of these people think. I don't. But I do care about my business. Word gets out that I dance like someone's grandpa, gigs will dry up overnight. So it's not that you don't want to dance, it's that you don't want to be embarrassed. Sure, let's go with that takeaway. Easy enough to fix. You just need someone else to dance even worse. Yeah, sure, that's all it... And there he goes. Swear. Lucky you're cute. What are you watching? A thriller. Runtime, 92 minutes. Oh, wait. I think I saw part of this in a hotel once. What are they doing now? Is this the ending? No, this is the rising action. The hero and his ragtag crew have to pull off one last heist to get out of the game for good. But it's not that simple. The casino he needs to rob is on a satellite orbiting the Earth at 16,000 miles per hour. How fast is that in kilometers? Father, you should be able to calculate that. I learned a program so that I wouldn't have to. Why haven't the thieves been caught yet? If there was that much money on board, they'd put cameras everywhere. There's illegal gambling happening on the satellite, so their ultra-wealthy clientele wouldn't want there to be any video evidence of their crimes. What is this fucking... This is some Zero Escape bullshit. What is this Ocean's 11,000? There's illegal gambling happening on the satellite? There's illegal gambling happening on the satellite. They're in orbit. It's the same as being in international waters. Would you like to sit and watch? No, I'm not. I have somewhere to be, actually. I only stopped here because... Oh, yeah, he is doing the same thing. completely unrealistic. Their poker chips will be floating all over the place. Yep, extremely dad behavior, standing and watching instead of sitting down. So true. There was a throwaway line about how everything's magnetized. Oh. Father, didn't you have to go? I do. Soon. But not right this second. Oh, man. That's really good and really fucking sad. Oh. Oh, man. Safe to drive private. And lastly, Emma/Morgan. Capture video. You ready to give up yet? I've been staring at this footage for hours. We can call it quits whenever you like. Me? You kidding? I could do this all night. But my makeup's starting to feel cakey, so... 5-minute break? Deal. What were you hoping to find, anyway? I don't know. I had my fingers crossed that some shadowy figure would walk into frame and hold up a confession, but... What about you? You've already got her on camera handling the murder weapon. How many more nails do you need in the coffin? Okay, so this is in the middle of episode 1, between trials 1 and 2, whenever they were combing through all of the footage together. 1 or 2 should suffice. I guess the truth is, I was curious. What does a homicidal AI get up to in its spare time? Turns out it's a couch potato. What's with all the TV? And why is half of it in black and white? Public domain. Seriously? Anything digital from the 20s or 30s is too polluted to be useful. But go back in time 70 years and it's all clean as spring water. Also, free. Hit color in 2016, Morgan. I don't know then. Guess this particular homicidal AI happens to be an old soul. Hold on. What was that? There. Look at her go. She's tearing that thing apart. What, the computer? So you learn to put them together. You gonna try and terrify Barrows with this? It's just a machine. It's not like she's dissecting a frog. Sarah is a machine, and she's ripping out circuitry without hesitation. If she was a human child, that'd be like, you're reaching. Yeah, I guess so. Besides, you telling me you never pulled apart your dolls when you were a kid? No, I didn't. Did you? When I was a kid, I didn't play with dolls. So what did you play with? Normal kid stuff. Sticks and stones. Birds and squirrels. Birds and squirrels? What are you, a cartoon princess? Ha ha. I mean, I can kind of see it. Skipping through the enchanted forest. Big poofy dress. Tiara. Gee, no castle? Nah, no castle. I can tell you didn't have it that rough. Is it rough living in a castle? That's a lot of empty rooms when you're a kid. I need to go wash my face. Sure. But if you fall asleep on the toilet, I am going to keep going on without you. If you're drooling on the keyboard when I get back, I'm going to handcuff you to the desk. Fair's fair. Oh, they fucking. Oh, they fucking. Alright. Good stuff. I don't think Morgan... True. True. New key... That's right! Let's go back to the main menu, and then I think we get... Oh, I was hoping it would be the new one. Or no, it would be bonuses... Where keychains? Where are my keychains? Where are my bits and baubles and my little trinkets and treats? You can do the keychains in any of the bonus scenarios? Alright, hold on a moment, please. We're going back to Yuri. Oh, there we go. Alright, Morgan time. Fran Charm, Fidget Tubby Pink, Fidget Tubby Blue, Charmless, Black Phone Case, fucking Sato Stuck, Emma Deep in Thought, Rhea's Undercover, earned for clearing episode 1 on High Roller,
Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Haruhi Suzumiya. Huh. Well then. That's what we get, I suppose. We have to get the Magenta phone case because it's Magenta Horizon. I fucking hate that Neko Morg is demo exclusive. It's always back to Haruhi Suzumiya. She is the director, after all. Let's go, Sarah. Oh, I think I can buy everything in here. I can. I'm rich. I think I like the rose gold most. I don't know which one to pick. Not this one, though. I'm not going to use that one. I saw Dev's Twitter. They love bullying Reyes. I mean, obviously. Your daughter would want you to use teal. That's true. That's true. This is more cyan than teal, I think. Teal is more greenish. Alrighty. Big stretch. Okay. Well, that is all of the devil. That's all we've got. We will skip through the Yuri. All of the devil for now. There we go. Skipping Yuri? Listen, it's not the first time I've done it. Why do you think we aren't playing Red Alert right now? Thank you for playing it. It was a lot of fun catching so many more things after I read it for myself. It was a lot of fun just playing it in general. I'm very, very thankful to both you and assumedly Truth, because it seemed to be a group coalition effort, for suggesting this. I've had my eye on it, or rather, had my eye on it for a bit before it was suggested as a stream game. And I really, really, really enjoyed this. I had a phenomenal time with it. The only real hiccup in my experience was that beginning of the second day of trial was pretty iffy. I'm still thinking, like, I'm still thinking of how upset that made me, that she said there could have been, you know, she could have put the liquid in the cup underneath when there were no traces of the poison on the other cup, so we know that's not what happened, because if you stack cups together and there's a liquid in them, obviously they're going to touch. But it's whatever. It's fine, I guess. It's fine. I'm not mad about it. I'm not that mad about it, at least. You know? But what happened to having to prove guilt? I mean, we did. I feel like we did prove guilt. We got a motive. We got all that stuff. They just casually skipped over any actually proving anything related to the cups. Will you be playing episodes as they come out? Episode 2 should be soon, if Twitter is to believe. Absolutely, yes. Without a doubt. We will be playing the other episodes as they come out. I'm not going to wait for every single one of them to, you know, be released. I'm not that patient. I'm not that patient at all. So, going forward, Of the Devil will essentially have, like, priority, shall we say. So, whenever a new episode comes out, we will finish whatever game we are playing, and then the new Of the Devil episode will be next. Unless the other thing is time sensitive. You know, there's stipulations, there's clauses and effects, but you got the idea. Best 50k ever spent? Absolutely, yeah. Good stuff. Jung should have been named Lad R. Climber. Oh, that's true! That's true! The only thing we're really missing out on here is, the fucking shitty Ace Attorney pun names. Oh, man. I'm still really glad that we got all the staples in there. We got fucking red text with a devil's proof. I was not expecting that. That was really fun. The stepladder joke is a classic. I really, really enjoyed it. Again, my only what is it? Devs have Morgan and Sarah new outfits sneak peek. New outfits? Interesting. Ooh. The stepladder bit was great. My only real complaints with episode 1, or yeah, again, episode 1 is episode 2. My only real complaint with episode 1 is pacing, I would say. Which is a little difficult, I think. I think that part of it has to do with me streaming it, which is naturally going to slow the pace down considerably, right? So whether that's an issue for someone who is playing on their own, or whether that is just an issue for someone like me who's going to be playing in a slower format, that much I can't really comment on, because obviously I've only done the latter. But for someone who is streaming the game and is playing it with an audience, it felt like the beginning of episode 2, there was a lot of going to locations and investigating before we got to our first time in the courthouse. Granted, it's our first time in the courthouse, so it feels like this big event, right? But before that, it was on stream 6 to 7 hours of just pure investigation, right? Which there's no way it's like that if you're playing by yourself. But that's still, I think, something to consider as part of the experience. There was quite a lot of investigation. Whenever the trials finally did get underway, it felt like the pacing was, breakneck in a way that I really enjoyed. We had that little bit of trial, a little bit of investigation afterwards, right back to the trial. Trial went through, nice brisk pacing after that. I just feel like there was a little too much investigation before the trial, to the point where maybe some of it should have been saved for after, but that would require a lot of restructuring in terms of how everything is written and how you discover information, stuff like that. So I'm not sure what the solution would be. I only know that the pacing felt a little bit slow. That said, I don't tend to be very impatient like this with a lot of things. I think my impatience with games is primarily a product of me streaming them, where I know that I'm doing something for an audience, and I'm hoping to get to something more exciting that I might be able to riff on more effectively, right? Or I might be able to get excited, pop off, that sort of thing, right? So, again, any time pressure and pacing issues are most likely a result of the format in which I'm playing the game. I think that setting that very high bar with episode 0's super tight pacing did episode 1 a bit of a disservice. That's true. Episode 0 is all killer, no filler, pun fully intended. All right? It is just perfect. Episode 0 is essentially, functionally flawless for what it is trying to pull off. I think if I had any criticism, maybe, I think they maybe could have introduced blackjack in episode 1 as well. It felt like, or the like pressing and questioning, one of the other mini games that they introduced in episode 1, but then maybe not, because then it might feel bloated with mini games. The 2 that were in episode 1 felt like enough. So I'm not sure. Either way, my biggest criticism for the game remains blackjack as a minigame. I think that it's just poorly framed in a lot of ways. Not the analogy. The analogy is fine. I get it. It's whatever, right? They're trying to show you risk reward in you don't know whether a question is really going to be the right question to ask or whether it will have the effect you want. It's that idea of there is a chance that you will bust. There's a chance that this will hurt you instead of help you, right? So the analogy works just fine. Even though, again, being able to bust from 11, kind of bullshit. You should just give me a card that will force me to bust if not, right? 21 is not blackjack. Blackjack is ace and a 10 as your opening two. But that's nitpicking. My real problem with blackjack is a lack of clarity in the information that you are going to try and ask about. I felt like in almost all of the blackjack minigames in episode 1, I wasn't really sure what question I was asking or what sort of effect or like where the conversation would lead. Once I was in that thread, it tells you exactly what you're going to say. Or it doesn't tell you exactly what you're going to say. It tells you where the conversation is kind of going, but you might not say that exact thing. So it leads to a lot of feelings of uncertainty and a lot of sort of trial and error, which is what I think the system is essentially meant to discourage by having it be so punishing and having you lose credit and lose health on that one. That said, it could also be a matter of playing into that risk-reward gambling aesthetic that is core to the entire game, right? Where you don't have the full information, so it is a gamble. But I think that if that is the justification for you not having as much information as you would necessarily want, I'm not sure that that's a gamble that I would really be happy with. I understand needing to stick to the theme if that is the case, but I think there are some places where you can really go hard on it. I like being able to max out your bets or lower the ante whenever you're presenting evidence. I think that's interesting, but I'm not so in love with the chance aspect as it relates to guesswork that can't really be deduced with evidence. That's really my biggest criticism that I have for episode 1. Just the blackjack system doesn't feel great. So I'm hoping that in future episodes, maybe they can tighten up on the prompts of the questions that you're asking, maybe just be a little more clear if that's possible. I don't even know if this feedback is going to reach them, but also I'm, probably the biggest person streaming this game right now, which isn't saying much of anything at all, but you get the idea. I have an audience. I have some form of a platform. It's probably worthwhile to offer some sort of criticism in this kind of format, right? So I feel like as someone who is or tries to be more critically minded when it comes to these things, that would be my suggestion. If you can find a way to make the blackjack system more clear, it would go a long way in making it feel more fun and engaging. Everyone knows jelly streams are just a trial run for the puppeteers to screen stuff to make Joe do. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that, though. I mean, I know you're joking, but sometimes it does feel like that in some respect. And I'm wondering, is that something that I should be concerned about? Should I be trying to come up with ways that maybe I should diversify my own streams in some way? Which isn't really, like, a serious thing for me to be concerned about. I could tell I was having a weird weekend, because I've been thinking about this all damn day. And it's not really anything that matters at all, to be completely honest with you. But sometimes I do get that feeling that maybe I'm too derivative of Joe in some ways. I don't necessarily think that's a legitimate concern, but it's a concern that I have nonetheless. Not really sure what to do with it, because if I'm being derivative, nothing I can really do about that. It's just a matter of me being derivative. I try to be relatively genuine when I stream, but as you all know, it's performance. There's going to be some layer of artifice over all of it in some respect. I'm not nearly this theatrical, maybe this talkative, but the drama of it all comes from it being a performance, right? So I try to be relatively genuine when it comes to these things. And it just so happens that when you watch a person stream for coming on 5 years now, you tend to pick up a few of their mannerisms, right? It's just a thing that's going to happen. I unironically think it's just people seeing Peak and deciding, oh, I want Joe in on this. It's not derivative at all. It's just community overlap. I think so, yeah. And, you know, as I continue to stream, there will hopefully be less and less community overlap, and it becomes more distinct audiences, or even if not distinct audiences, more of my own people in the mix, right? I will say, it makes me happy when I see names I don't recognize. Obviously, because that means that people are branching out, and I'm very happy to have folks in chat that are new here. And not that I'm ungrateful to see folks that I recognize, but you know, it's as a streamer in that regard, you hope that you are reaching new people. You hope that your reach is expanding in some ways, because you know, on some part number go up, but on the other part, the validation that comes from having more people enjoy the I don't want to say content. I'm trying my best to avoid that. Enjoy what you're doing, right? Enjoy your streams and stuff like that. So I like seeing new names. First time chatters always make me very happy, and I'm seeing a lot of them in this stream, so thank you very much. Unironically though, Jelly should do Project Revenge sooner than later before losing them ace combat skills, because it's harder in certain ways. That does remind me. I'm planning on setting up at some point today. What is it? Those are some really crisp snaps. Damn, I can tell my mind's running a mile a minute because I just interrupted myself 2 times in a row. This is the second one. I'm planning on setting up little info blurbs on the channel. Which I do want to display what the general schedule is, like I do in the Discord. Exclamation point next game. I could probably set something like that up with Nightbot as well. Yeah. Exclamation point schedule. Yeah. Stuff like that I can definitely set up with, well, I wouldn't need to set up with Nightbot. It could definitely just be in the info under the channel. But next up, we are going to be working with, or not working with, we are going to be playing Prey 2017, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Prey 2017, the new one, which I'm looking forward to. Stretch. One of the praise. Yeah, one of the praise. I do want to say that I do like that you're advertising your Discord now. It was a bit of a hassle to hunt it down through your VOD channel before that. Yeah, it's definitely... I'm very slow on the uptake when it comes to implementing Nightbot. I thought it would be more difficult than it would be, but it ended up being perfectly fine. So, you know, we got it in there. There's a little hiccups, but we can expand it as we continue. I posted a fun tweet from the dev's Twitter if you want to check that out. Let me see. Assumedly in stream chat. Ooh. Of the Devil is finally gonna be good. Meet your newest client counselor. I'm sorry, what? Huh? How long have we been streaming? Oh shit, we should have taken a break 30 minutes ago. Let me pull this up here real quick. Hey, Twitter doesn't autoplay videos, right? Right? It's not gonna autoplay some bullshit whenever I finish this, right? Right? It shouldn't? Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna go to settings real quick and turn the music off so that we can play this video real quick. A little preview of the next episode. No. No. Miss Young Witch.
Allie P. Young Witch. April 1st. Private investigator, solar commune, likes cacti, mountain climbing, blankets, dislikes grime, crime, drama, favorite flavor, vanilla, hidden talent, green thumb, home remedies, politics, late 21st century communism, militant. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right. Nice. Nice. All right. Finally, the game is getting good. Get that music back up. So they heard your... They really did. They really did. Just what we needed. Oh, man. Stretch. All right. It's solar punk now. No way. No way. As someone who refuses to own a Discord account, what is the current upcoming games list? I only show the next 3 in line. But the next 3 in line for now are Prey 2017, which is the next one. After that, we will be playing D4, Dark Dreams Don't Die, which is this, I think it's a sweary, like, adventure game in the same style as Telltale games back when they were very popular. It was never finished, from what I understand. The project got abandoned, but the first episode came out, and I remember bits and pieces of watching people do Let's Plays of it, because Let's Plays existed back then. And it looks interesting. I mean, it's a sweary game, so, you know, it's obviously going to be interesting in some regard. But Boulder redeemed that one. Looking forward to it. And then after we play D4, Dark Dreams Don't Die, we will be returning to Factorio. So we're going to go in there. We have one objective, and that is to launch that fucking rocket. All right? We have trained for this. We have the knowledge. We have the technology. I'm going to be installing mods so that it doesn't fucking suck this time. Backseating will be militantly policed. You will be drawn and quartered if you suggest something and it's not immediately helpful to me. And also, BusChan is going to be back. Yay! Everyone clap and cheer, or I'm going to blow up the entire fucking pipeline. Build train? Oh, most certainly will build train. What do you think all that the fucking power plant practice was in Satisfactory? I mean, you can just change the map settings to make it suck less. That's true. That's true. Yes. Trains kind of suck in Space Age. I will not be streaming Space Age. Oh my... Are you kidding me? No? What the fuck? We're doing base game, buddy. Mentioning Sorry just reminded me of The Good Life. I'm still surprised that Mouse actually played it. I guess it's kind of her vibe. I guess it is her vibe, but finally someone who knows what it is. Definitely adding the infinite ore patch mod. Absolutely, yes. My biggest problem... I had a lot of problems with Factorio. Namely that I did not understand ratios in the slightest. You know. So that would probably just cause you like a couple of problems down the line if you didn't understand any of the underlying math to your factory production line or, you know, all that stuff. It could be a problem, like, theoretically. So, you know, if anything, I should really be praised for how well I did, right? I should be praised, and rewarded, even, for managing to make it so far, despite having no technical knowledge whatsoever, right? Just sort of
banging sticks against rocks and making green science. You know, I'm just saying, it's all things considered, it's a pretty impressive showing. You know, I feel like maybe that's worthy of some level of admiration, praise, idolatry, even. Jelly should play Space Age so that they aren't stuck in a pre-expansion world in case they want to continue. Fair enough, yeah. I like Factorio when the task I have to complete is simple and not a list of 15 different things to make one item. That's kind of what I ran into with Satisfactory right now. Except the problem wasn't so much actually like rationing out the resources and getting everything together. The problem became the aesthetics of it all. In Satisfactory, the hardest part of the game is not ratioing your materials properly and figuring out how to balance everything to produce things efficiently. It is trying to do all of that while not turning your entire map into a parking lot. Which sometimes, if you're really in the mood to build stuff, can be very fun. I'm really, really, really proud of some of the builds I've done in Satisfactory. The giant oil rig that Pub and I built, that was a lot of fun. And the like submerged plutonium facility or whatever I built, I'm really happy with that. That whole pipeline area flowing, becoming the basis for the entire system there. The giant train network I started building there, I love how that's turning out. The only problem is I always need to build another building. And another building means I have to figure out how to make that building look cohesive and visually interesting, and I don't just want to build the same thing over and over and over again. And I don't have really like an eye for architecture, so I can't really come up with on-the-spot cohesive aesthetics that allow the entire area to match in a way that feels very satisfying. So it's difficult in that regard. And that's what stopped me from playing this most recent time. It just got to a point where I was exhausted with trying to stylize everything. In particular, I really don't like train stations in Satisfactory. Train stations in Satisfactory are just extremely large. They take up so much space. And trying to find a way to make them look good is insanely difficult for me. Honestly, I should probably just look at like real life examples of what train stations look like and just base them off of those. That's my problem as an artist generally, is that I need to be comfortable with using references more often. But unfortunately, I'm not. So, you know, haven't quite figured that one out yet. Cargo rail yards are massive. They are, yeah. They are. In downtown Pittsburgh, there's the Carnegie Science Center. And I always loved going as a kid. My dad loves going there, too. They have a miniature train set. Like a whole thing set up. This entire environment filled with a bunch of little electric train cars and stuff like that. And I always loved seeing that. And that's why I liked starting to set up trains in Satisfactory, because it feels like building that on my own, which is a lot of fun. I watched Dev talk about this thing. They basically said people that care about aesthetics will do it anyway, but people who don't will just clip stuff into each other. So that's why Satisfactory is the way that it is. That makes sense, yeah. In Satisfactory, the game will not punish you for just going crazy and putting stuff through walls and everything. Like, the game does not give a shit. It's not strict about the like physical space and reality in which your factories occupy it. Like, what's his name? Why can't I remember? Why can't I remember what his name is? Hey, it's Josh. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Game It Out. There we go. I just had to do the script. Let's Game It Out. Is a testament to that. He's just fucking doing whatever. And it works. And it works so well, in fact, that he's on the Steam page. He's one of the poster boys, right? Satisfactory is perfectly fine to allow you to just do completely nonsense, incomprehensible bullshit with your factory. And as long as point A connects to point B, you're good to go. right? This is why I like Factorio. The most aesthetic designs are often the most optimal. Yeah, in Satisfactory, you are building structures. You're actually building entire factories. In Factorio, it's more like you're building a circuit board, if that makes sense. That's what it feels like to me, at least. I am building a functioning, compact system that has a function, or that has a specific purpose and creates a certain output. Whereas in Satisfactory, I'm more so thinking of, I am making a factory. It will create this, and I want it to look like this. I think Factorio is a very, very carefully designed game, mostly around the one central gameplay loop. Yes, absolutely, yeah. You know what Satisfactory needs? Big foundation, like bigger foundation than it currently has. Satisfactory designers got distracted making the coolest exploration map when they just wanted Halo Reach Forge World to build in. I think Halo Reach Forge World is fun to explore in. I think the exploration of Satisfactory is genuinely one of its most exciting aspects. Satisfactory to me is extremely fun for a lot of reasons. It does stoke that sort of Halo Reach Forge World kind of aesthetic in my mind. But to me, it feels like the world is designed in such a way where you can look at things in such a way that, like, yes, I want to build here because the resources are here and it's optimal to build here. But it's just as viable and just as likely in Satisfactory that you will pick a spot and you will build there because that place looks cool. I want to build there because that's a cool spot to put a factory. I've done that multiple times. I have inconvenienced myself more often than I have convenienced myself with the location of my factories, right? I have done stuff which is just very hard to work with because it's cool to work with it, and it feels satisfying to do so. You'll love Subnautica then? Oh, man. Oh, man. I want to get Subnautica done as soon as possible. Give me 1 second. Anyway, sorry about that. I hope that Subnautica goes fast. I hope it goes fast, man. I want to just get in, get out, stay alive. I don't even want to fucking conquer my fear of the ocean by the time I'm done with it. I just want to be gone. That's all I'm looking for. Nothing more. But unfortunately, I've run out of information to filibust with. So we will not be able. Well, we could do an offline mouse raid. It's not unprecedented. It's certainly not unprecedented. So we'll go for it if it'll let us. I believe in you, Jelly. It's only 13 minutes more. Unfortunately, I have to go eat dinner. So when I said I can't filibust for 13 minutes more, I mean that I can't filibust for 13 minutes more. I definitely, I'm capable of doing it. I'm just not in a situation where I can. So we're going to go for the offline raid. Thank you very much for watching, folks. It's been a pleasure. Hope you had a good time. I know I certainly did. And until next time, have a good one, folks. See ya! With an art stream for Prey 2017 next. Bye-bye.